This is Mr. Matt with Mr. Matt's 5 Minutes of Finance, where we help you along on your journey to financial freedom 5 minutes at a time. So folks, today I am going to spend a little time delving into the numbers that are behind the number that makes up my credit score. So let's start first with that overall number. And I get my report through Chase, a credit card I have with them. They give you an option of getting your credit score. And so you can see that number 791, and then you can see where that number relates to the rest of America. And as you can see, I am in that top tier, but barely. If that's an A, it's an A minus, because to get into the A tier, you have to have a 781, and I'm just north of that line at 791. But generally speaking, the way this breaks down, if you're in one of the top two tiers, you're pretty much going to be approved for credit that you apply for and enjoy a pretty good rate. The best rate will be reserved for those north of 800, and you're at the top of that top tier. Then that middle tier, the yellow, you're probably going to be approved most of the time, but have to pay a little bit higher interest rate. If you're getting approved at that orange tier, almost at the bottom, you're probably at a pay here, drive now lot, or a check cashing place, and yes, they might approve you, but you'll be paying an interest rate out the wazoo. And then if you're in that bottom tier there, you're probably going to be told to kick rocks. All right, and so next I want to look at my credit history, and I have to tell you, it is all over the place because I actually use or leverage my credit score. Some people might say, by looking at this graph, that I abuse my credit score. As you can see, it goes back a year. It goes back to March of 2018, where the score was 736, and then it went up, and then it went down, and then it went up, and then it went down. And I can tell you these next numbers will really explain why that happened, because there's been some new credit here. First, I want to show you this top number, which is pretty high, over 300,000. And this for you would make up all the money that you owe. Credit cards, mortgages, student loans, car payments, any debt that you have on your credit report will be put into that number. Now the money that you owe Pookie and Ray Ray and them, that money won't be included here. This is just the money where people report to the credit bureau. And so you can see that mine is pretty high, and I can tell you why. It's because of mortgages. And I just added a new rental property to my portfolio, so that just increased here this past year. You can also see Mr. Matt is human. Mr. Matt has one late payment that happened within the last 2 years, unfortunately, and it stays on your credit report for 7 years. So you want to try to not have any late payments, though stuff happens. You can see that my utilization rate there is 3%, and that 3% is based on 3% of the 215,000, which is my total available credit. So let's be clear, this top number represents the amount of money that I owe, which is primarily just credit cards and mortgages. That's actually all it is. I don't have a car loan or student loans. And then this bottom number, the 215,000, this number represents how much available credit I have on credit cards. And so 3% is what I'm currently using of that. Again, you want to try to keep that number below 10%. And let me just talk for a minute about that, because I actually use the credit cards when I get those 0% offers. If the rate is 1%, I will take advantage of that 0% offer and get $10,000, let's say is what I did this last time, and then apply that money toward my mortgage. So the mortgage comes down $10,000 instantly, such that my payments that I make monthly on my mortgage, now more of those payments are going towards principal. And in this case, I'm paying off over a period of 18 months, I think was the last 0% offer I had. So that's why you see a 3%, which is about $7,000. That's balances on my credit cards, because I am using my credit to help with my whole debt management. And then, so there were 4 accounts that were opened within the last 2 years, and that represents, again, I know one of them is the mortgage, and the others are probably credit cards where I got some rewards for opening a new account, and then 3 inquiries within the last 2 years. And these numbers, by the way, do cause your score to go down. When you're having an inquiry, it's probably going to go down about 3 or 4 points. When you open a new account, it may go down as much as 15 points. 27 years, the length of my longest card that I own, which is probably older than many of you watching this YouTube video. That's it for me. That describes my numbers. Tune in next week when I will talk about a particular credit card I think that you should have in your wallet in order to get good rewards. This has been Mr. Matt with Mr. Matt's 5 Minutes of Finance. Until next week, take care of yourselves and your finances.